everybody, welcome back to another session and edition of JSMFX, where we look at forex reviews, forecast and analysis. So for reviews, we're going to look at the reviews for 26th to 30th of February, 26th to 30th of January. And for focus, we're going to look for going to look at focus for the 2nd of February to 6th of February 2026. So this is GSMFX. I'm Arnold Anuro, and you are about to dig into the analysis of Euro USD, USD CHF, and the DAX. But obviously, we're going to start off with the DAX as we also look at my account and see where I am right now. It was a very good week, and I'm hoping that you'll stay that way and actually pass the challenge. So wrap up and let's begin with my account. Okay, so just like always, welcome back, guys. If you're new to the channel, please don't forget to do the due diligence, like subscribe and everything. But for now, let's just dig in directly to my account, and that is how it is. As you can see, we are now playing around. I'm playing around between 53,558.22, meaning that if you turn this to percentage, you're looking at around 7.12%. And if I make that 3%, then I'll pass that phase 1 and move on to phase 2. But if you check very closely, also we had this dip, okay, from I think this was 28th of November. We had that dip that really brought me down, I think 2%. But I had to, snap out of whatever thing that was distracting me, and later on I jumped up and I got above my last high. So if you check very well, I've also done my all-time highs here, just like any other pair, or all the terminologies that we normally talk about. So this is just my graph, that's just my metrics. From there we go and look at the performance. So far 54 trading days. We're looking at the daily loss. I've only made minus 1%. Maximum loss, which is 10%, but I've only managed minus 0.2, which is good. Profit target also doing well, 7.1%. So, I'm doing very well. And I can actually say that I'm proud of myself, that I'm actually, getting to see things clearly. Okay. Discipline score also 92%, so that's okay, that's good, and I'm hoping that that will stay that way as we look to pass the challenge and also get to the funded stage and the payout and everything. Statistics, this is where I love seeing such kind of performance. My win rate has now gone up from, I think, 47%. Right now it's at 51.61, and as you can see, this is because I've chosen to take less trades. They say the less the more. So I've chosen to take less trades. So I only do a trade a week, okay? Unless it's just a trade that is running throughout the week, but I'm taking partials in between. So 51.61% is my win rate. My average profit, as you can see, is there, 173. Average loss, 106. I think this is because of the taking of partials. Number of trades taken so far is 93. And, well, I'll be honest to say that 93 is a bad number for me, but I'll also justify by saying that I've been making mistakes, taking a lot of trades during the first sessions, or during the first times when I was doing my trading. So I normally used to take many trades. So right now the trades are minimal, and that means that I've also slow down my numbers, okay, because I would have been at 100 right now, by taking 3 to 4 trades a day. But now, because it's once a week, this minimum number of trades has really slowed down, okay, and right now I'm at 93. So at 100 trades, that's when I will start thinking of looking at my data within the 100 trades and see where I went wrong, evaluate myself and see what I should do right from there onwards. Okay, so lots in total 82. Looking at those 3 pairs, Sharp ratio, I really don't know much about this, so I'll leave that for you to maybe do your own research and come back and see my metrics and see how or why my number is at that point. Profit factor, also that, nothing much to say about it. And also average, I think risk to reward ratio is a 1.64. So meaning this is because of taking partials. Okay, I never let my trades, run into full profit, but I am trying to also learn how to actually leave them to just go to full profit. Okay, so I think the average, putting all of them together to now, it comes to this average of 1.64 because of taking partials. Excuse me, expectancy, that I don't know much about, but I think for the next video I'll try and look onto this the three things: sharp ratio, profit factor, and expectancy, to actually try and also explain about those three elements and what they are actually all about, what does that mean. So my trading journal, this is how I've performed this January. And as you can see, things are not bad. I've closed down with 4%, so that's good for me. I think from this first week of January, okay, I only managed to take, I think, 2 trades. Let me see. January 5th, yeah. So there were these trades that I took from January 5th, and as you can see, from 5th, 6th, 7th, and 9th. Okay, these were trades that I was taking, but I was also taking partials on the way. Say for example, this one was a partial kind of trades that I was taking on the way when the trade was going my way, but I didn't leave it to go to full profit. So I was just taking partials on the way. And also this second trade was also a partial kind of ending trade, so meaning I was also taking partials in between. Now for this 29th, okay, I let it run to profit, but I only let it run to profit too for 2%. Okay, sorry, for 2R, and it was only one trade. I think this was a Germany 40, which is the DAX, and I'll show you in just a few minutes. So that's just it from my account. I think if you look at the closed trades, this is how I performed from 5th January right here, just like we saw a few seconds ago. And as you can see, those are my performances and how I did in at this time of January 2026. With the charts, I really don't know how to look at this one. I'll be very honest with you. But if you maybe take a screenshot and go and do your due diligence, you can tell, or rather you can explain how my performance has been over the period of time and how it looks like right now. So that's just it from my account. Let's now jump into the news and see what we have in store for February. Okay, so the news, let us start off with Monday, February the 2nd of 2026. Well, I really don't have much to look at here. I'll only pay attention to this PMI, which I'm sure will happen later in the evening according to East African time. So with all of the day, I'll just have to concentrate on how the chart will look like, how it will shape up, and get ready for New York Open to see how also this news will affect the charts. Okay, so yes, the euro, we still have the retail sales news. Also the CHF, I think I'll also pay attention to this because I also trade the USD CHF. Euro again, and then the pound. So I think there's nothing much to see on Monday, but I'll be really paying a lot of attention on the ISM manufacturing PMI. Tuesday also, jobs or job openings, not really that important for me, so I'll leave it out. And yeah, let's just continue monitoring the just to see how or what it will give us. Wednesday also nothing much, but with the ISM services of the PMI, I'll also have a look at it and see how it will affect the charts, given the fact that also the Monday and Tuesday will have some few activities. It could be, preparing people to see on how the PMI for Wednesday will play out also. So for these others like the Euro and the GBP, I won't really pay attention to that. I'll just wait for the London Open and see how things will open up during this day of Wednesday. Thursday, yes, we still have the jobless claims. That's not bad. I'll actually play. Um, I'll pay a lot of attention also in that. But the ECB press conference, as despite that it's for the euro, I'll also want to see how it will affect the chart. So I think Thursday will be a very busy day to just expect or anticipate something, or volatility to surface itself when it comes to that day of Thursday. Ending the week, we have the NFP. Okay, so I think this will be a very interesting week because we have the non-farm payroll news, and I really, really want to look forward on how things will be, because where market is right now, being the first quarter in the new year, we'll want to see if if the charts want to reverse or maybe continue with the trends, because most of where price is right now, they are mostly hitting so many types of levels, say the high time frame supplies or demands, respectively, or depending, but all the same we want to see how they will give us a shape or maybe a projection for how the year will be this 2026. So that's just it for the news. Let's now jump into the charts and also see what we have in store. Okay, so let's now get into the real deal and see what we have in store. So just like always, kama kawaida, we will start with the DAX. So initially for me, the DAX is still on an uptrend, and we could be having a pullback from here, but I'm really not that sure, because this could just be a demand where price is reacting from and maybe continue to the upside. So what I'm seeing right now is, after this move to the upside, I think I have to change the size of my path. Yeah, I don't know, indicator or something, drawing. So we have this move to the upside like that, and then price came down with that long wick to mitigate this pullback and demand, and then move to the upside. So up around, I think, 2025 January, we've just been ranging, okay, up and down, up and down. This candle here, I thought would be the one pulling back to that demand, but that wasn't the case. So from there we see price shooting up. So one tip I'll give you is these long wicks. See these long wicks, like this one and this one, normally for me they are pullbacks. Okay, this one, the pullback. So that kind of pullback, it could mean two things: either it just wants continue with the trend, or maybe reverse. Okay, so this could be the start of maybe a pullback, say, to this one, but I really want to anticipate for any move to here, because it's a very long way down. What I'll only say is that this was the last pullback before this break to the upside. So this week right now could be a pullback inside this demand and then continue to the upside. But if we get a break below this low like that, and come deeper inside this demand, then I'll look for any areas of supply, and then continue the move to the downside. So anything can happen, like I always say and everyone says. So let's just anticipate that this move, this week right here, this move is just a pullback inside this demand. So this demand is actually huge, because this is the monthly. Okay, so maybe we could have several kind of demands inside here the price still wants to go to. So when it comes down, then we'll have to capitalize on that and see on how we can take advantage of that move to the downside, get some few profits on the pullback before maybe continuing to the upside. Weekly, they just load. Like I said, it's a pullback from the monthly. So you see also the weekly is trying to is also proving us right that that is the case. So what happened is this long week, remember that long week is the one that pushed price to the upwards like that, and then we started ranging. I think we started ranging on yeah, January 2025. So meaning the whole of last year is just been, price has just been ranging. Okay, so we had the highs, not breaking any lows, not breaking any highs, and then when price got to here, we saw a move to the downside like that, but it was only taking out liquidity from all these guys. See that one? All these guys taking out liquidity from them, and then they jumped up from there, coming to this supply. And for me, I was thinking maybe it would bounce off from there, continue to the downside, but that wasn't the case. So what happened is, inside this ascending triangle, we see price breaking outside and then came down with this triangle to only mitigate that this inside bar and this demand. Okay, and from there now price shot to the upside to continue with the actual trend. Okay, so we had the higher high, we can call this the higher low, and all this could be higher high. Okay, but as much as it was ranging, a little bit of pullback was done and then continued to the high. So we now have an official higher high here. So what happened next is price reversed, and this could be a signal of maybe a pullback. But for this pullback, it had done a fair value of distance, which, as you can see from this week, like we always say, like I just mentioned in the high time frame, like the monthly, this was a pullback. So that pullback came only to there and then shot deeper. Okay, inside now this demand, because if you check, this last candle was the last high and this one didn't break the last previous candle, so meaning this was a pullback and this was the demand. Now this demand was the one that was used to push price to the upside. So the first week right here, it only wicked this, see this light bigger demand. Okay, but for me I'd like to call that sell to buy range. Okay, so this range from that start of the pullback to this candle is another, supposed demand, if I can call it that, where price came and wicked it and then moved to the upside just to, induce more buyers thinking that it's bouncing off from that level. But as you can see, price again came down to take them out and also mitigate this actual morning, I think it's a morning or evening star, but this demand also that was mitigated. So we could see a bounce off from here, okay, and maybe continue to the upside like that, because ideally we responded, or rather, sorry, price respected this demand. So maybe this could be the next demand that will be respected and continue to the upside. So still anything can happen, but for me that is my anticipation, and it is that this demand, see this one, will be the one that will be respected. But if it doesn't, then let me just move my, sorry, let me just move it back there and take this line to be my chalk line. Okay, if it doesn't and breaks below this low, then that means we'll have a change of character, and then look for that pullback and play the sells. Now if you're going to play the sells, say for example something like this happens, come down, breaks this low, comes maybe reacts from this demand again, because this demand wasn't really touched deeply from this week. So meaning if they come down here, okay, to this inside bar, then maybe I'll be looking to capitalize if I get enough conferences from here where price maybe could be reacting from, could react like that. And if there'll be any supply here again because of this low being broken, I'll be looking for that supply and then play down one move to this demand right here. So I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not telling you to take that trade, okay, say maybe next week, or if you find a supply, please I think I'll put in the disclaimer is always at the beginning of the video. Do it at your own risk. Me, I'm just here for educational purposes. So that's just for the weekly. Let's now jump into the daily and see what we have in store. Now, I've actually talked about so much about this trade and where we are with the range and also the structure, okay, the structure of the daily. So let's just try and do an overview and also look at where price is and what we could be expecting. So we had a change of character here, as you can see. Price came up, range a little bit, came down again to mitigate this demand deeper, okay. And then this blue levels, this one and this one, those are the weekly ones. So just try and ignore them and let's concentrate on the green ones, because the green ones are for the daily. So here we see the highs being taken out right there, and then price came down to break this law, the law of the daily. So we could have started that pullback from that week that I just showed you on the monthly and the weekly, but as you can see from the daily, that reversed to the upside, and that's where also we had this ascending triangle. See this one? Okay, and then price moved up to the supply, came back down, but didn't touch this demand. Although with this demand also, I see a lot of wicks here. Okay, so meaning this demand could be a demand that has already been, mitigated, and price took enough for us to actually drive it out to the upside. Okay, so just like that, higher low, Then we went to the upside to cause that high. Now, before we go to here or maybe continue, we see we have another reaction with this. I think it's a doji where price pulled back a little bit, although it wasn't for me, it wasn't that a legit demand, okay? So, but that was the demand that was used to push price to the upside to actually come and mitigate the supply. Again, we see us inside bar here, which was the one that actually broke now the structure, the swing high of the daily, this one here, and then price shot to the upside. So right here, we also see another reaction where price range a little bit before it shot to the downside to actually signal for us the pullback that is starting. Okay, so meaning now this is my high and this is my low. So I'm expecting at least price to come to a fair value of below the 50% equilibrium of the Fibonacci, and also see on how maybe it will react when it crosses over that line of the 50% of the EQ of the FEB. So as you can see, price shot to the downside very, very violently, and it came back now to that demand. Remember that demand, it could have also reacted from this one, but with this week I see it was already a pullback that mitigated this demand and then shot to the upside. So that's why it came down very violently to come and take out the lows from here. Okay, so this was just a sell side liquidity that was being targeted, where price came down and then mitigated this demand and then did that sudden pullback. Now in this pullback, we see again price going up. Let me now zoom in. Price going up, and then with this inside bar, a little bit of a pullback. Then you see that, okay, that move to the downside and then move to the high, which now was taking out all those highs. Okay, so after there now we see move to the downside like that, where we had a little bit, I think we had a choke here in the lower time frames, and then that now signaled that we are continuing to the downside. So two things right now, price has come in deeper again inside this doji. So meaning with this next candle, we could be seeing another pullback to the upside. Okay, and for me, my next upside is this supply. Okay, so it is from this supply that it's my personal opinion, that I see price reacting from there and maybe continue to the downside, because originally we still have this demand which probably could be the one being mitigated. Remember that ascending triangle, we talked of how price came back to that edge, this sell to buy range, the range right here. I think you can see it, this green one. Now it didn't actually mitigate this demand, so meaning just like this one, when price came back down and took them out, this one also could be another liquidity. Whereas you can see also it proves that with this trend line that I just drew, okay, it has now been broken, and maybe price now wants to come back down and take out these guys. And also it has built a double bottom right here, so meaning this one could be a pullback to maybe that supply. And if it does come there, then I'll just just like always, put my sell stop there and wait for price to tap me, and we go along with it to this area of demand. Okay, so that's just how I'm looking at it. Also, now I still have the supply that I'm also cautious about, and I'm going to be very wary of. And if price also wants to come up to that section like that, then maybe I'll be looking to take advantage of that reaction, either to any areas of demand around here, say for example like this, and maybe continue to the upside from somewhere around there where the demand will be, and continue to the upside. So anything can happen, still anything can happen. But for me, what proves that holds so much weight is the supply right now. It's kind of making sense to me that it's taking control to actually move price lower and also cause the daily pullback to continue. So if we put our FEB right now, we see that 50%, okay, 50% is just below this double bottom. So meaning this double bottom could be targeted to price to actually for price to take advantage of that, and just make the move to the downside to that demand. So that's just it, and that's just the analysis for the focus for the daily on the DAX. So let's now go to the 4 hours and look at the few trades that I took. So I start off from the high. Okay, I start off from the high. So let me just change this arrow to at least be a bit slender so that you can see what I'm really talking about. So I start off from the high. I won't explain much about what is going on my left, so I'll just move it like that. Actually try and zoom in like that. Okay, and I hope you're seeing it, and I hope you're getting the full picture of what is actually happening. So let's now get our path and start off from here. So we see from this high we had a change of character. Price again shot to the downside up to there, okay, to that demand. And then from there we see price shooting to the upside. Okay, so it built that ascending triangle again. I hope you're seeing it. So let's take, for example, this was the uptrend, and then if you check very well the way I'm putting my arrow there, and also my axis, you see my vertical axis, the way it is, that was an ascending triangle which price continue to the upside with. Okay, so let me now zoom in as I continue explaining what actually went on. So we had that pullback. Remember that morning star, I think the morning or the evening star, where, let me just call it a star, where price now short, price was shot up to break that last high of the 4 hour, the swing high, and then price continue to the upside like that up to there. So I don't want to explain much about what happened here. Now, I think I explained it in the first week of January, so I'll just peruse from that. And as you can see, price shot to the downside. And then we had another move again to the downside. Okay, this I think was the third week, if I'm not wrong. Third week, and then it's the fourth week, which actually closes the month. So when price now shot to the downside again, to take out that liquidity that we saw on the daily, here is where now I had to focus and see on what is actually trying to be communicated. Okay, so I noticed that there was this range. Okay, so I had two things in mind. Number one is this pullback was a supply. Okay, and could be the one that will be used to push price to the downside, continue with the selling momentum. But as you can see, price just came to that range. See that sell to buy range, this one here, the brown one. Okay, so right now we are concentrating on the brown level areas and a point of interest, okay, as our point of interest. And for me, this was my eyeballs, because again we see price going to the upside to take out those highs, and then this was another pullback which again pushed price a little higher to take out all those highs and also mitigate the supply deeper. So when I found that we had this candle breaking out this low, because I would have expected for at least price to react from this demand and continue to the upside, but it broke that low. Okay, and then price now started creating a downtrend. Okay, so this was the supply that it reacted from, came down here to take out liquidity from that demand and also build a double bottom. You see now how they're building the sell side liquidity. Then again, when price came back up to that supply, we see the price reacted from there. Okay, so when price came in right around there, I already put up my supply level there. Please ignore this one. Let's concentrate on this one, this candle, where price came in. Okay, and then I placed in my sell stop right there. And as you can see, price actually, no, my sell stop was around here. My sell stop was around here because this pullback, these weeks, is where I targeted for it to at least come to this supply. So when it came to that supply, I placed on my sell stop. For some other trades, I took direct execution. Sorry, for my other accounts, I took direct execution. Okay, so I have an intraday account and also a swing account. So sell stop, price went my way, came back up. So this one, I think I held on to it for around, let's say, 2 days, if I'm not wrong. So for this first day that I placed in my trade and came back to my break even, or rather my entry point, I was now skeptical, and I told myself, you know what, let me just make peace of my losses and prepare for anything that will happen. So again, this inside bar came back down to mitigate this demand. See this demand right here? Okay, so let me just try and zoom in. this demand right here, it came in and mitigated that, and then went up again higher. So at this time now, I had already given up, and I said, you know what, it's fine. It's fine. If I'm going to face a loss from this one, it's okay. But one confidence that I had is this double bottom. Okay, this double bottom, and also the whole of this trend line being broken, the supply, what do you call it, the supply momentum, sorry, the selling momentum. And as you can see, price actually played out well, because I was still looking forward for at least also price to come and take out these lows. Okay, and that's what actually happened. So what happened is, when price went in up higher, I closed in my all my devices, and I just went out on my way. But yet again in New York, I think this was on Friday, Thursday. Yes, this was on Thursday. I opened my phone and I found out now price, New York open price now short to the downside. So my target was at least for it to come to this exchanging week. See this one and this one, at least from to that level right here on my horizontal axis, as you can see. So price came in there, hit my first full TP, but that was just the 2R. Okay, but the 3R was down here. So meaning when price came back down, after this pullback, okay, there were slight pullbacks here around here. Okay, but as you can see, price played out very well, hit my 3R, but I was, my emotions were really on top of the roof, so I exited too early and just was comfortable with the 2R on every or all my accounts. Okay, so for this candle, we see that it wasn't actually a pullback, but still it was a bullish candle. So me, I regard it as a pullback, but still it's not that essential pullback. So what has happened is price still continued lower, okay, to this daily and the 4-hour demand. So meaning this now, whatever that is happening, we see maybe it's just a movement to the upside to actually facilitate that pullback of my internal structure. That means this high and this low. So maybe if I'm right with the anticipation of the pullback, then maybe we could be coming to this supply here before maybe continue to the downside. Okay, but if that's not the case, then maybe we could just be reacting from here to come and take out these lows and then do the initial pullback to that point. Okay, so anything still can happen, and let's just wait and see. But for now, let's just jump on to 15 minutes and explain what is happening here, because after this very, very nice trade that actually got me to that 7.1%, for this one now, I went back to my intraday account and I placed it, and I'm letting it run on during the weekend and see maybe if the what do you call it, the swap fees, okay, during the weekend, if they'll be kind enough for me to just don't take all of my profits from there. But as you can see, I was right, because with this morning, I think morning or evening star, price came in like that to that let's say alleged supply, and then I was tagged in. But within this tagging, we see clearly that price still pulled back, okay, to actually create that, I think, dodgy or morning star, blah blah blah. But I was still right, and unfortunately price didn't hit my TP. But yet again, I'm still confident, and if it doesn't happen, then it's just a small loss that I'll take, and I'll be looking to actually change my mind and actually continue to play the pullback to the upside like that to facilitate this range of high and low of the structure. Okay, so that's just it. Let's look at the 15 minutes real quick and see on how the week was all about. So now for the week, we see, actually, by the way, let me just say this. I think I've mentioned this before. I had this indicator in, okay, the session indicator, where it tells me when the different sessions start, okay, and how price will react or could be reacting on those open sessions. So as you can see, we'll try and go through it and see on how I capitalize on it. So beginning of the week, from this vertical blue line, this was the beginning of the week, and this actually the 4-hour vertical lines. So I normally love to also look at how the week, played out, okay, in my charts. So as you can see, Asian push price to the upside, okay, leaving liquidity right around there. And then London also did a little slight of pullback and then moved to the upside, which is that 4 hour, what do you call it, 4 hour supply. Okay, now when 4 hour reacted from this 15, now we are looking at the 15 levels. Okay, the POI is in gray. Okay, so in this 15 minutes POI, which is the supply, we see price pulling back to that demand and then ranging. So in this range, I reacted, I reacted with that reaction from that supply, and I placed in that sell trade. And as you can see, it didn't go my way because on Tuesday now, from this vertical line of the orange, that was on Tuesday, we see that price now shot to the upside, and then I got into a loss. So here again, when price got in here, we had another change of character. So price pushed up, and then we had a break of that low, which now pushed price down. And as you can see, New York now on Tuesday, price continued to the downside. It ranged a little bit, okay, and then continued to the downside, but only to come and mitigate this demand and also build a couple of bottoms. Okay, so on Wednesday again, we see Asian, okay, moving on to the upside to mitigate this supply, this last supply, which yet again they came now officially to take out these lows and also mitigate further inside this 4 hour demand. And as you can see, also price reacted from this supply, okay, after this change of character. So we see price coming down, pulling back up to that supply, and then now shooting down officially to that demand. Again, we see another pullback. I think this was on Wednesday still. See another pullback during the London, which again push price to the downside. And then New York again, still on Wednesday. On New York, we had a change of character right there. So let me now starting to zoom in. We see change of character right there. Price came back to that range, the whole range demand, and then shot to the upside with the New York PM. So we had, I think we had a news here, reaction, and then price came back up to that supply now officially, and then continue to the downside. So on Thursday, Asian pushed price to the upside, okay, then pushed it higher again to take out those highs. Okay, this was on Thursday, and then we see price now coming back down, okay, continuing now to the downside. And also I think this was now when I took that move to the downside. I think so. Yeah, this was when I took that move to the downside and then continued with that trend. I think to I think this area. I think so. I'm not really sure. But yeah, so we see a slight pullback, another move to the downside, then another lower high from that supply, down again to here from the New York session. Actually, this would have been a very good trade. I was just not into my desk I was not on my desk, and as you can see, price really reacted very well. Actually, I've come to realize with the sessions trading, things are a bit different. You need to actually be very, very attentive to the market and the charts to actually catch this move. So we see price reacting from there and then coming back down. Then the pullback now, where we see price coming back down to this demand, but it's not really a demand because it was just a slight pullback. So price just came back to mitigate this area and also take out this inside bar because there was a pullback here, but it was just liquidity. I think by now, if you have watched this video from the start, you will understand that sometimes this inside bar just, liquidity points. So meaning price just came back down to take them out, mitigate this let's just call it a alleged deep demand because there was no an official change of character, and then that's now is the one that was used to push price to the upside and causing that supposed pullback. So again, we see another move to the downside, not really now to mitigate this demand, but as you can see, we had a slight pullback here, so we have a change of character. So price went up, caused that change of character, the bullish one, and then came back down, okay, but only inside the range. Okay, so right now I think by now you should also be noticing that we have some kinds of reaction points from those kinds of, you know, ranges where price will just come back to the range, and later on it now makes that move to that demand, the actual demand that they wanted to come back to. And then, you know, maybe supposing or anticipating now price to react from either this demand and then continue to the upside. So we had a move to the upside again inside this alleged supply, because this one was not a pullback. So still price reacted from it and then came back down to this whole demand, range demand, and then move, push price to the upside. Then we see another pullback. This now is another high that took out this previous high. Okay, so when price came back down right there, caused a change of character, move back up to mitigate those supplies, and then now change direction to the downside. Now this is New York. Okay, as you can see, this is now Friday. So Friday, Asian range, liquidity taken, mitigation of that supply, sorry, demand, change of character right there on London. London caused this inducement. Let's just call it inducement because we cannot rule it as an inducement right now. Then move to the upside during the whole of London. Price came back down still on London, and then New York now picked up the price, and then possibly could be the one, you know, taking now price to the downside. Okay, so here when price came to this supply, that's when I placed in my sell stop. And as you can see, price tagged me in, came to profits. At this time I went to sleep. I just didn't want anything, you know, concerning that. And I've also built my confidence to trust my strategy, and you know, my risk was in place, and you know, everything was in check. And also letting price to, you know, run to TP. So I think this is around 2R. I'm not sure, but we'll check it. We'll check on it in a second. So we see the range, okay, during the night. Price still came back to my my entry point. Okay, so I'm anticipating that with this pullback this week could be the one that will push price to this demand, and then maybe react from there and now do the actual deeper pullback, okay, to that 4-hour supply right here. Okay, 4-hour supply, and a couple of, you know, supply is also in the 15 minutes. Okay, so that's just it from uh, the DAX and how I am looking at it in terms of focus. Okay, and in terms of the reviews of how this week actually turned out too. So for this trade on the 4-hour, this one I shared it in the group, so anyone who took it then should be smiling to the bank right now. And for this one, I had to do it myself because I am still collecting data on sessions trading to see how also that will play out. So nothing much to say. After that, let's just now jump into USD and see what we have in store. But for now, that is just it from the DAX. So let's jump into the USD. Okay, so USD, let's now start and look at its analysis. So starting off from the monthly, we still have that move to the downside, which actually reacted from that supply. As you can see, okay, we still have this demand where price came in and has come in deeper. Okay, so this move to the upside like that and slight pullback, we see it pushing price to the downside, and then again coming back down again. So this was the last supply where price came in and they short, or rather continue with that downtrend. Okay, so like I said, always this week is actually a pullback in the lower time frame. So let's just try and look at that in the lower time frames to see what will happen. So what I can say for focus is that unless we have a move like this, you know, taking out these supplies, causing a change of character like that, then I'll be looking for that demand and actually anticipating more of those pullbacks to the upside. Okay, so for now, we're still going to the downside. And as much as this is a pullback, it could be a pullback either. Now let's just pay attention to something here, to this whole range. See this whole range? The buy to sell range. So this is where it started, this is where it ended. So meaning between that high and that low, price could, you know, come into there like this, okay, and then continue to the downside. So still anything can happen, okay. So let's just wait and see, and find out what we will actually get from that point. um uh Weekly, okay, so weekly again, we have, after that move to the downside, okay, this pink supply, see this pink supply. Now let us concentrate on the, I think, luminous green color, okay, where price shot to the downside, then came in back to range around here, and then shot to the downside. We had a change of character here, but that was just an inducement and also building sell side liquidity, which price later on came in, took them out. So as you can see, very evidently that price has actually, let me just do this. Price has actually come into that monthly demand. Okay, so maybe with this week could be a pullback either deeper inside this supply, which I actually told you from the range supply right here to right here, price is actually coming there. So as you can see from the weekly, now we have a supply there that we could be targeting. So if this week is a true pullback, then we can play this pullback up to this supply. Remember, this is the weekly. So if you actually catch a trade from here, you can I'm not a financial advisor, please don't get me wrong, but you can still hold on to that buy trade to that supply. Actually, I would personally, I would be happy to do that, okay, because you know, I will look into all my what do you call it? I will look into all of my conferences, and actually, and my plan to actually see on how it how it proves to play out to that point. Okay, so I think that's just for the weekly, and that is what I'll be anticipating. So let's just look at the lower time frames and see how this week was actually performing. Now daily, now we see price played out very well. So let me just try and do that. So now we're concentrating on the green zones, the green POIs. So we had a change of character there. Price pulled back to that demand, went up, came back down. It didn't actually continue by breaking that high, you know, with this uptrend that just started, but we see price reversing to the downside like that. So right here, okay, with this trade, I think I explained it in my previous videos, especially the first video of the year. So go and check on that if you want to see how this trade was taken and how we actually capitalized on it to get those profits. So we see price coming up to that section, did a little bit of pullback, and then moved to the upside, and then came down, causing that change of character. Then this move to the upside with this inside bar was just a move to mitigate, okay, to mitigate that whole buy to sell range. Okay, so from there we see a move to the downside, very robust, that you know, broke this low, okay, of the daily, and also taking out those sensor liquidity. So price came in to mitigate that monthly, remember that monthly demand, and then right now we see as a paused pullback. Okay, so for this pullback, one thing I'll say is this white candle, just like remember the DAX bullish candle that I said it could be a pullback in the lower time frames, also this one has done the same. So meaning this could be the one that maybe hold price, okay, and continue to the downside, but still I still see, or rather view, this inside bars a pullback which push price to the high side and also coming into this candle. So maybe this candle would be the one to push price to the downside, but for me, if you ask me, in my own opinion, okay, it's not a financial advice, once again, I see a pullback maybe inside, deeper inside this inside bar, and then doing the actual pullback to either that supply. So that's just my focus. That's how I'll be anticipating to see what will happen inside USDCHF on the daily. So let's now jump into the 4-hour. Now 4-hour, we'll try and look at the overall structure of how the month has been and how the year started before we continue to the current price action where we are right now. Now, taking my parts, we see price coming back up. Okay, now starting off from the structure, sorry, we had this high and this low, so price shot to the downside, meaning it has now broken structure to the downside. Okay, so meaning now we can start looking for pullbacks, which this one could be one of them. Okay, so this was the mistrade that I talked about in my last video. Okay, reacting from that supply, coming back down, doing another pullback to create more liquidity just from this one. Wow, this was a very beautiful move, because we have this double bottom right here, another double bottom right here, and then price just came in and swooped all that money, and taking out those bottoms, this outside liquidity, and you just have to be keen with these things, because if you're not, then you could blow your account even in one trade, targeting those lows, sorry, targeting those highs, and maybe price just want to continue to the low. That is depending on this respective to this example. So we see a range around here. Remember that alleged demand that I talked about, which push price to the downside like that. Now we don't have, for me, I don't have any demand around here that has been mitigated. Okay, so this could be a slight, pullback. Okay, where it reacted from that demand and then shot to the upside. Okay, so it could be a slight pullback. So like I said, we have this move to the upside, and then the same demand that we talked of from the daily also has a demand right here. Okay, so I'll be anticipating to take trades from this demand and then play the pullback to the upside, because this was not my actual supply. So meaning this could be also inducement to come and take them out and actually mitigate this actual supply that was caused to break that structure. So there is where I'll be anticipating for price to come to. Okay, if at all that pullback was actually meant to happen, and yeah, anticipate for it, or rather on it, to come to that side. Okay, so that's just it for the 4 hour. 15 minutes, I'll only look at this week and how it played out. So we still have from Monday. So Monday we didn't have anything. I didn't, put anything in place. So I just let Monday go on like that. On Tuesday, we see price shooting down, regardless of, time sessions. We see price pushing down. But right here, what is interesting is we had this move to the downside and then move to the upside. So meaning now we have a change of character. So it came back up to the supply, came back down again after this range, okay, to that say demand, but there was a pullback here, an inside bar, which now was taken out, and then price shot to the upside. This was on Wednesday now. Price range during London, and then as you can see, New York push price to the upside. I think that was the news to that supply. Okay, and then now did a little bit of pullback, and during the PM price was picked during the PM right there, and then price shot to the downside. Okay, so shooting down to the downside, we see price coming back deeper inside this demand, but still was meant to actually come to this demand, before this IBOS was taken out. So you also see how my structure is built also inside the structure, the external structure, or the swing high and the swing low in this case. So we have what I'm calling the IBOS, the internal breakout structure. So this was my last high, this was my last high, this was my next high, and then this low was broken. So now we could be continuing to the downside, but that wasn't the case. On Thursday, we see a range on the Asian. London picked it up to mitigate that supply, came back down to that demand, and then New York picked it up, I think, with another news to actually take out all those highs. Okay, so as they are taking out all those highs, also they're building sell side liquidity, which now New York came and took them out officially and formally mitigating that demand, which later on, now on Friday, okay, we see price shooting to the upside again, causing that change of character. Price did come back during the Asian and the London, price didn't come back to that demand after the change of character. So meaning even after that liquidity taken out, we see price shooting to the upside to now mitigate this supply and also taking out those highs. So meaning this pullback now could be continuing to the upside, but we can't tell for sure. Let's just wait and see how price will play out next week. So right here we had a change of character, but I wasn't really interested. I was actually interested to see if I could get a setup from here, but yet again I wasn't that interested. You know, having that good trade from the DAX, everything was just okay for me, and I would, you know, I left price to just continue on its own and let the price play out and see how maybe next week will, you know, give what next week will give us. So we still have a move to the upside. This IBOS is broken, so meaning I'll be anticipating a pullback. So if I'm anticipating a pullback, I'll be expecting a pullback either to this demand or maybe this demand before we continue to the upside. So I think that's just it from USD CHF. One thing I'll just have to remind you is you see this green space. This is the fair value gap. Okay, but this fair value gap was created with this what do you call the void, and then with this weak price, you know, came back down. But as you can see, price came back up, you know, to come in deeper inside that fair value gap. So for me, as an SMC trader, I can only say that fair value gaps are liquidity points. So I'm really having confidence to see what price will do from this demand. So let me just do this real quick, draw this here. Okay, draw that there, maybe assume there'll be a demand around here and then play that pullback and then go to the lower time frames and see how that arrow looks like. So that will be, yeah, you see that? See that? So meaning, because I don't see any demand here, then I'll be expecting price to come back down to this point. But that's just my advice. That is how I look at my trades, okay? I'm not advising anyone to take that trade, but what I can only say is if price comes, for me, I'll look at it this way. If price comes back down to this demand, then I'll be putting in my stop around there and then let price play to the upside, you know, for the sake of you know, continuing to the pullback and also just relaxing, staying calm and let price do its thing at that point. So that's just it for USD CHF. Let's now look at Euro USD and close in for the month, the episode, the week and also the session. So last but not least, everyone's favorite, Euro USD. So let's just see what we have in store for this one. So starting off from the monthly, as always, we have that high breaking this low, okay, and then we have that range, okay. Price came in to check out those liquidity points and then shot to the upside. So it came back up to this supply. Okay, now from that supply, we see price reacting from there to come into this doji, or rather this morning star, evening star, whatever. And then price came back up to take out those highs and then pull back to this demand and then short to the upside. Now, I know I've been making so much noise about the supply pushing price down to these areas of demand, but that wasn't the case because I was still wary or, you know, prepared for price to, you know, anticipate that price will still come back to this supply, which it actually did. So from that supply, we see a very strong reaction. See that reaction? See a very strong reaction. So from this reaction, anything can happen. We could also get back down to deeper into this demand, maybe before continuing to the upside, or maybe cause a change of character right there, and then look for any areas of supply, and then, you know, continue to the downside. So anything can happen still in this forex market, but let's look at the lower time frames and see how that could be possible. Now, after the move to the upside to mitigate that supply, okay, right here, okay, we see during the month of, actually the year of 2025, price shot to the upside like that, okay. This is the weekly now, so around we'll say, yeah, January 2025. So 2024 price bought, 2025 price ranged again, just like the DAX and the USD CHF. Okay, price shot to the upside like that, came back down to this alleged little demand, and then price shot to the upside to come and mitigate that supply. So anyone who took a trade from here, then I can tell you this for sure. This month you've actually smiled every day, because price just continued shooting up to that supply. I mean, this could have been a very, very beautiful trade actually from this demand. But for me, I was confused. I was, in quagmire, and a conundrum of play between this inside bar. I won't call it a supply, but inside bar and this inside bar as a demand. And it was just juggling around there, and I didn't know which other direction it would go. But for this move to the upside, and we have now next this week, we could be seeing a pullback maybe to this demand, and continued higher, because excuse me, I still have this area as my supply where I'm expecting price to come to. So maybe price could react from this demand and then come back up to that supply, okay, before maybe we get the actual move to the downside. Overall, what I can say about this year is uh, for any pair that had been ranging last year, this year is about the moves. Okay, this year is about the moves, because if you check also in the US, we see Donald Trump, making moves in very many countries. So he's trying to change things. So as he does that, also people are thinking twice about the economic factors and also improvements. So I can tell this for sure, according to my own analysis, that this could be the year where we'll see a lot of volatility. Okay, I still don't have full proof of that, but I can just say that because this, according to this one, okay, the way last year was, okay, and how that last year ended, we could be facing some few moves this year, maybe a reversal or maybe a continuation to the direction the price was going. So jumping on to the daily, excuse me, after the range that we just talked of in the high time frames, we see price playing between this low and that high. But before we get to that high, this was the weekly demand, alleged demand, sorry, that it wasn't an official one. So this demand, where price reacted from and then shot to the upside. So we had a move to that section, had a change of character here, but price came back up, check out those highs, and then came back down, okay, to build that double bottom, they shot back down again inside that weekly alleged demand in quotes, and then shot to the upside. So the shoot to the upside had a change of character right here. Price came back down, okay, but it only came back down to what? The whole range, that is the sell to buy range. Okay, so it only came back down to there and then shot to the upside. So just like the two pairs that we just looked at, this also could be liquidity this low. Okay, so price shot to the upside, came back down to react from this week, exchanging wicks, and then we had a move to the upside, that is the, what do you call it, the inside bar, which now price again continued, or rather officially started off the reversal. So with that move to the downside, we see another move. Sorry, we don't have any other move or any evidence that we could be coming back to this supply. But for me, if you ask me, I am playing between this low and that high. So meaning I'll be expecting price to at least come back down to what? The EQ of the 50% of the FEB. So meaning if I'm looking for any areas to target, then I'll be targeting mostly this, okay, this demand for price to come to. So for this one, on the daily, I am not seeing any areas of supply that I can use, but I'll have to see if price will come back up to this supply and see maybe what I'll have in store before maybe continuing, or assuming that we are going to continue to the downside to this demand. Okay, so that's just my focus on the daily. Let's now jump into the 4 hour. Now, 4 hour, very briefly on the structure, we have this high, okay, causing that low, and then the eyeballs was broken. The higher the high IBOS was broken to the upside and price pulled back, okay, to this exchanging wicks, and then continues to the upside. So now you see how this could be liquidity. Okay, as we anticipate this move to the downside, this could be liquidity. This one here could be liquidity. So it was used to push price to the upside like that, as you can see. And this was the price. Actually, there was a trade here that I missed, just like this one. Okay, that's just like this one. We see price coming up, okay, taking out these highs, and then we had a pullback right there to take out some of the liquidity around here inside the gap and filling it up, and then continue to the upside. So we had a range around there, and then price came back down. Okay, now when it came back down to where? To this demand, and then it's that demand that was now used to take out those highs and then continue with the uptrend like that. Okay, so meaning this was a missed trade for me. Like I said in my videos, whenever you see the purple and the red boxes, or rather the PNL, whatever, just know that that was a missed trade. So yeah, I felt bad about it, I won't lie, but yeah, just had to move on and look for another setup in another pair. So again, we see the start of the pullback. Not really officially, but as you can see from this low now, we see price breaking to the downside and then continued even lower. Okay, meaning they could also react, just take out this liquidity, react from that demand again. And for me, I'll anticipate at least a move to here before assuming or continuing my anticipation to the downside. So it is from this daily supply and this 4-hour supply that will, help me fold my hands and just wait. Just wait for everything to play out and let everything come to your levels before, continuing to the direction that you are opting for. Okay. And also, they will be building. If that happens, that means if that happens, then I'll be strongly confident to say that this was a double bottom being built around here, and then price shoots up maybe to mitigate that area of supply, and then come and take them out together to the downside. So I still have this also as my other demand that price could react from, maybe look for another supply area, continue maybe to here. Here also there was another range that maybe could act like what do you call it, could act like a reaction point where price will mitigate, look for another supply, and then continue to the downside to officially excuse me, mitigate that mitigate that daily green, this one, the green daily demand, and also this 4-hour demand that was used to push price to the upside. Okay, so that's just it from Euro USD. But then I don't have much to say on Euro USD. Let's just look at the 15 minutes, but I won't really talk much about it because the only thing I'll talk about is just this trade. Okay, the rest is just the market structure and how things are playing out. So for me, I'm playing between this high and this low. This was the missed trade. Price came in during the Asia. London manipulated further down inside this 4-hour, sorry, and then price shot to the upside. So from there, we see New York continue to the upside. I think this was on Tuesday. Then Asia started off with a range to the downside. London took them out. By the way, this was a very good trade. If you actually was keen enough, you could say that this Asian move, okay, London picked it up to take out those highs. Okay, then we had a change of character around here. Okay, and then supply was created there. This would have been a very good trade to take out from here. And as you can see, price now continue to the downside, respecting those supplies and changing direction, and also creating that downward move. So we see the IBOS the IBOS now on the 15-minute being created, and also the downward move, the whatever, what do you call it, the sell momentum, okay, or sell direction to the whatever they're selling. So we see price reacting from that demand, and then price continues to the downside, so breaking that IBOS low, and then again IBOS high was broken to the upside. So we jump on now to Thursday, where Asian caused this change of character. See that one, Asian caused that change of character. London took them out, okay, took those highs out from that supply, and then London now continued with the downtrend. Okay, so respecting that supply, respecting this supply and this supply, price now short, excuse me, to the downside. Remember, after this change of character, we didn't have the reaction, sorry, return to this demand. So meaning that was the actual return to that demand, the official one to that demand where price reacted from and then continued to the upside. So I think New York PM, we had a move to the high like that, and then price shot to the downside again during Friday Asian open session. Okay, so again, Friday, see Asian and London range for a very long time. London took out at least some liquidity from there, but still caused another reaction from that 4-hour supply, but the whole range supply, and then price continued to go to the downside to now mitigate these areas of demand. So for me, I'll be anticipating at least to see what reaction will be from this demand that was left and mitigated when price didn't touch it. Okay, so for this move, we see price coming back down, and I'll be anticipating for at least a reaction from that supply before maybe looking for any possibilities of a pullback. Okay, remember that pullback we talked of from the 4-hour. So that's where I'll be expecting at least for price to come to, and maybe look to capitalize on it from there and see if we can continue to the downside from that point. So that's just it from Euro USD and the whole session. So I don't have much to say with what has been happening. What I can say is I hope you took some value from that, and also seeing on how I take my trades, how I look at my analysis, and how I do my focus. Okay, so I don't have much. You guys have a very beautiful weekend. Congratulations to Manchester United for beating the worst team in the world. But for aside from that, I'll just say that. Being a swing trader has been very, very nice. So what I'm doing right now is I'm trying to look at how sessions trading work. Okay, because if you check very well, there was a nice trade here. Okay, there was a nice trade there, which if you're targeting 3R, this would have been a very good trade. Okay, right there. Another one was this one. Where is that? Here. Okay, I think after this change of character right here, price took them out, those highs. Okay, this was another trade right here, so maybe you could put your stop loss there, look for that 3R, say maybe to there. Okay, like that. Okay, so you see how this could have been a very good week for many of you, and if there's anyone that took advantage of that, congratulations. This was another trade, by the way. I normally like to give a little bit of a buffer of my stop loss so that the spreads also cannot affect my trade. So this would have been another beautiful 3R, I guess. Yeah, 3R to there. Okay, just to follow in on the, what do you call it? To follow in on the order flow, okay, to the downside. So here there was no trade for me because there was no, I think this fair value gap is the one price reacted from, but I would really expect for price to come back down here. Sorry, back up here before continuing to the downside, but that wasn't the case. So these trades, okay, say on Wednesday, Thursday, all the way to Thursday evening, coming in on Friday, this would have been a very good, you know, say 9R, 9R. That would have been a very, very good trade if it was, say, a challenge like FTMO's challenge, evaluation challenge. That would actually pass you that 10%. Okay, that first one 10%. If it's the 5% on say second phase, that would also prove to you that things would have been very good. So I really don't have much. I just hope you took some value from that. If you have not understood anything, say maybe you're still having questions, let me know in the comment section. Let me know on my TikTok with the same username, JSMFXKE. And let's chat. I'm also on Telegram. You can let me know if you want to join my group, and I'll give you my link. And also in the description box, I'll leave my link there where you can join in my group, or maybe come in personally and ask for any assistance if you want private sessions to actually help you dissect and also demystify how the chart actually is looked at with the strategy of SMC, smart money concepts. So that's just it. I'm JSMFX and Nolanuro. May you have a nice weekend. Stay safe, be blessed, and God bless you guys.